Okay, so I'm doing the editing right now, and I've got all these clips. This last clip here that we're looking at, this one, which is the final clip. Um, I just recorded that one 5 minutes ago because I realized that most of the clips had copyright music in them. So I did a little explanation and apology for that. But then I finished that and I realized, oh, actually, that very first clip also has copyright music as well. So I have to re record some sort of an introduction. So this is the introduction that you're getting now, which is a real shame. I recorded from this afternoon until this evening. I did a bunch of recording talking about stuff, but I do sort of go over everything in the clip that's about to come after this intro. The purpose of this intro is just to explain, yeah, that every other clip that I did today actually had copyright music in it, and so I'm not able to use them. But to reorient, I started the day with a working main menu system, but I did not have a working pause menu system. My plan was to implement a pause menu system, and if I had time, I would have implemented a save game system. So, with that being said, I wanted to do a shout out to Gurkha Games because I've followed at least two of his tutorials now, and they've all been very short and sweet. But only useful about 90% of the way, which is a significant portion of the way. I did learn a lot following the tutorials, but the result that I ended with was still something that I needed to tweak. So I used his tutorial for the pause menu system, and I used his tutorial for the save game system. So I'm going to stop talking now and let you watch the next clip where I do just go over everything that happened. Yeah, sorry about the music. I won't make that mistake again. Thank you. So we start a new game, and we can go into the pause menu, which works wonderfully. Originally, the sky wasn't pausing because the sky was working on a real-time clock, but now it's the game time, so it's working. It resumes properly the way that it should, which is excellent. And let me show you now. I'm going to save right here, looking at the corner. And now I'm going to come stand here, and I'll load it back exactly where we were. But the sky and the light are not saving yet, so the position and the camera position both save properly. However, if I save looking at the tree and then quit and then continue, I'm in the same position that I was in, but the camera rotation didn't save. So I'm like halfway done with saving the camera's rotation. I've just got to add it to another section there. And also, if I press number 1, that will delete any save file that's on the computer. So I did that now, and when I quit, you can see that there's nothing there. And if I quit out of it and go back into it, there's nothing there. And a save file is only made upon clicking New Game. So now we can quit, and then we can continue back from where we were. Anyway, that's pretty much the gist of it. That's what I managed to do today. There was a couple of issues that happened, and I'll see how much of that I can remember. So I talked a little bit about the sky, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow because I need to do the saving for the sky, and so I'll kind of discuss that then. I'll show you why the camera doesn't save. The camera rotation is only halfway done. I'll show you that, how that works. So pretty much everything is happening inside of the FPS player blueprint. It's never done that before. That's interesting. And where to begin? So this is just the controlling the mouse and using the keys to control the player's movement. And this is also controlling the camera. And then this is what happens when the moment after we click New Game and that player is spawned, this happens, and we ask ourselves if a save game exists or not, and if it does exist, we're going to load that save and adjust the settings appropriately. So this doesn't actually happen when we click New Game. This all happens when we click Continue Game, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But as you can see, we're saving the player's position, and yeah, so let me go over that. We cast to the save load blueprint that we've made, and on the save load blueprint we have something called player pos, and so we're setting the save loads player pos actor transformation here, and we're also setting the controller rotation pitch. That is me halfway trying to do the saving of the camera, but I haven't fully implemented that on this section. Just like down in this section, if there's no save file, if it's false, we need to create a save file, we need to get the player's position and record it inside of the blueprint save. So player position is the actor transformation is the player's position, and then we can save the game. And we also need to set the blueprint save to be this thing that we've just created, and then it just continues on. So this stuff is to do with updating the camera so that the camera can't go too high or low. And then down here we have our custom event save game, which gets called when we click save game. And so if that's true, the player's position needs to be saved, but also the camera pos of blueprint save needs to be set. And it is set, so the player's position is based on the actor transformation, and the camera's position is based on the control rotation, which in turn is based on the getting the player controller. So we get the player controller, get its control rotation, and then save that as camera position, and then we save the game to the slot. And when we load a game, the reverse happens. So if there is a save game, which there always will be, because the moment you start a new game, that's how you access the pause menu. And you can only load a game from the pause menu, because from the main menu it's just the continue button, because there is only one save slot and we always overwrite that save slot. So if a save game does exist, we need to set our actor's transformation. So our player has to get moved to the position that we record inside the blueprint save, called player position. And we need to set the camera control rotation to be the camera pos in the blueprint save. And this thing needs to have a reference to the player controller. So the player controller has its set control rotation with the camera position as the thing that it's being set to. And this is me halfway through trying to learn how to save the lights that are dimming up and down, because there's actually 6 lights. And even though all 6 lights have the same number, they're all identical, there is more than one of them. So I need to get all of the actors of this class, BP timed light, and for each of them I need to finish working on that, which I'll do tomorrow. And this one right here is just, is there a save game? If there is, deleted. That's the one that I was using so that I could test the continue button being grayed out. And tab, this is just for the pause menu. And I'll put a link in the description for the tutorials that I followed today. But let me show you one more thing, which is I think it is it, where is it? BP main menu. Yeah, so when the main menu gets created, we ask ourselves if a save game exists, and if so, continue button is enabled. If there is no save game, continue button is not enabled. So that's how I'm fading the continue button in and out. And when we click a new game, we ask ourselves, does a save game exist? If it does, we're going to delete it and then open the level, because the moment we open the level, we're going to create a save game. So this is how I'm overwriting it, is that I just delete it the moment before we go in the level, and once we enter the level, the new save game gets made. And if there is no save game saved, well, we can just go right ahead and open that level up, no problem. And on the continue button, we're just going to go ahead and open that level. We're not going to ask if a save game exists, because continue button only works if a save game does exist. And if the save game exists, we need to open the correct level, and right now there's only one level, so I can just instantly put the reference there. But I imagine if I wanted multiple levels, I would need to save the current level as a thing inside the save blueprint, and then in here we would need to access that and tell it the level name is the one that is saved inside the blueprint. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to show you, but I must apologize, because yeah, I won't make the mistake again. I thought I could enjoy listening to music on Spotify in the background and then also share my screen, but when I share the whole screen, all the audio gets saved as well. So just quickly, I'll come and stand here and save and quit and start again and continue. And now what are we doing? Well, we're in the right position, but the rotation of the camera was not correct. It should have been around here. And that's because, as I showed you, that top section just has the player's position right now. So I need to add that, and then I will do the light dimming stuff. And then once the light dimming stuff is done, I will go and do the sky so that they can all be saved. And once all that is done, it's nice and tight, and I'm happy with it, then I think I will move on to optimizing, because there is a bit of there's a separation between my experience playing it in the editor and my experience playing it when I build it. So when I build it, it's just a little bit too slow. It's not that bad because all the shadows have been switched off, but when I say it's not that bad, I'm kidding myself. It's really bad. Like, it might be better for another person's computer, but I want it to be able to run smoothly on the computer I'm making it on, because then at least I know a reasonable amount of people will be able to play it, I hope. I've got really no idea, but I got to start with myself and work out from there. So, you know, I won't really be able to test the game properly if it's so unpleasant to play. And yeah, no reference to options yet. Options is just cosmetic at the moment. But also, that's really interesting. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, because the player does sort of lean forward and backwards. So I might have to make it so that the player has a sort of collider on them, so they can't get too close to the edge. Because, yeah, look at that. I can go here, and then I get stuck here. And then I can look up, oh, and then I can, oh, look down. So that's something I might need to fix. But I didn't think it was that noticeable before, and I suppose it's sort of realistic. That is how our heads move, kind of. You know, we're not just looking down with our eyes, we are actually turning our head down. So, I didn't notice that before. That's the first time I noticed that. But I did notice it before. I noticed that, but I didn't realize that it could actually clip through. So, that'll be something to tidy up. Anyway, I think that's enough rambling for today. Thank you all for watching, and have a lovely time.